Hello, hello everybody. I am Vamshi Kusuma. Present I am doing internship in hiring as an intern with my team of 6 members. My technical lead is Tausif sir. Now I want to tell about the Spring and Spring Boot. So Spring is a framework, Java framework to build web application, and inbuilt Spring has some special features like auto configuration, auto configuration, and some embedded embedded servers like Tomcat, Jetty, and Undertow. As we all aware of this Spring and Spring Boot auto configurations and embedded servers Tomcat, Jetty, and Underbow. Since first week and second week, we practiced about PayPal integration, PayPal payment services, and Spring Boot REST applications about REST services like post mapping, put mapping, and delete mapping. Now I want to explain about that. I already aware of that and I do practice on it. It's take little bit time. So and this is my control class and this is my sample project to test the post mapping method. Control Controller class is the entry point to the project. So we annotate with REST controller and request mapping. And this is get mapping method. This is post mapping method. This is also get mapping method and this is post mapping method. We give input through the path variable and path params. So here I want to test this again. So we run through this our root class run as Spring Boot application. So here our project is started successfully. Started sample project in 2.244 seconds. On Tomcat started on port number 8056. This is our custom port 8056. Let's see. Let's open the Postman and check the parameters. Here I already practiced on it by using this post endpoint. We pass the path params and path params here value 1 is equal to 1 and value 2 is equal to 2. Value 2 is equal to 22. Value 1 is equal to 11. And we also pass through header. SS is equal to 33. Here is that in my control class. Request header int SS. Request header int SS. So SS is equal 33. Now we have changed it to 77. Let's try. Send. So successful. Request header is called 17. Path param val 1 is equal to 11 and val 2 is equal to 22. And path variable first ID is equal to 1 and path variable second is equal to 2. And from request body, we also send input through our body A, B. A is equal to 44 and B is equal to 55. What if what if we change this variable to C or D and let's access this endpoint again through post method? It can't get the value. D is equal to C 0. By default, D is equal to 0. So but default value of integer is equal to 0. So it gets 0. So we have to give the same variable here also P. Let's access again. So B is equal to 50. Okay. And we also not only we are not required to write here, but also we can also write here also. Let's remove this key val1 value something 101 and key val2 and here we have to select something like 107. Okay, let's send. Okay, we got here. This is my testing application. So I want to tell about the Spring Boot application paint something nice. So this is Spring Boot. As we know, we build Spring Boot by layer. First one is control layer and second one is some service layer and third one is repository layer or database logic layer. This is our control layer. This is our control layer. And this is our service layer. Service layer. And this is our repository or database layer. Repository or DB logic. So first, the entry point of our project is control layer. So we access through control layer and then control layer communicate with service layer. Then service layer know how handles the request and what type of request and what functionality does the request do. And then the request is sent to the DB layer or repository layer, and it's manipulate the database tables according to our functionality, and it's reverse. And this is our DB. And then it reverse this and give the response to the DB, and the DB gives the response to the service, and service give the response to controller, and finally the client we get that response. Finally the client or front end when we get the response and we use that. This is the this is a REST application architecture. As I previously did one REST application project, and now I want to show that to you. Okay, that's it. Now I want to show that how the full stack app will work. Just to close my app. Let's close this project. Okay, close close this project. Okay. This is my student grade app. Now I want to show my app. In my app, I divided into three layers: control layer and a table. This is grade entity. This is database table, and this is our repository layer. This is our this is our control layer, and this is student entity. Here, this is student table. Here we created student ID, student name, and student grade, and getter setter methods for the student. And we have to save that student name, ID, and grade in the database, and we have to access that and delete that and update that. So I use this. I want to show some here. Okay, this is my student control class. Auto-wide student repo. Auto-wide the student repo interfaces, and we use string data JPA. It internally have some methods like dot save, dot find all, dot find by ID, find by ID. So it can use for the database logic, database functionalities by save, find all by ID. It's, it's pre-built methods while we using Spring Data JPA to communicate and access the database easily by using these pre-built methods. So we don't write our custom methods. Yeah, Spring Data JPA internally implements the Hibernate. So we So I want to show the dependencies in pom.xml. Here is our dependencies: Spring Boot Starter Data JPA. This is for database and Spring Starter Web and Spring Dev Tools and some other test dependencies like JUnit and Starter. Spring Boot Starter Test. So we write student repo dot save. In post mapping, we give body in the form of JSON like student ID, name, and grade. So that JSON type of body will save in the student repo and it gives the HTTP status code that created. And by get mapping, we use two get mapping. We find all the students at once and we also find all students by using path or ID. By using ID. Here we put mapping, we update the students by using ID. While giving ID, can update it. So now I will show my front-end application also as well. Mm, This is my front-end application interview. It was built, it was React. By using React, I created this. This is my code. This is just small code by using the React. So here we are trying to get by using this Axios library, we using this endpoint to get all the students. See at the rate local 8085 and slash students. In this backend application, we also doing the same for getting all students. We use which HTTP. Wait, I will show my port number as well. Where is my com.xml? Oh, okay. Here is our port number 8085 and this is the configuration for MySQL database. Okay, and this is our control class. So I want to run and show as well. I open my DB to show all this. Let's run front-end application. This is student grade application. Now we write warm sheet grade 5. Out of 10, I will give 9.5. Add, add. So why? Because our backend is not up and run, so it can't access the backend endpoint. He- While we press the add button, here is our post functionality. This is our post functionality. Here is our add and update method. Here is so when we click the add button, wait a minute. When we click this add button, then it access this your endpoint http.localhost 8089. We put the index like when we give the body student name and student grade, so it's saved in the database. And we let's run our backend and see something. So started student grade application in 4.7 seconds on port 8085 on port 8085. Okay, our backend is started successfully. Then we have to check our front end. Let's we add. So it's added. Delete. So it's added. When we refresh it, and we can also see in our database MySQL. Open. This is my database. We, let's open our database. My system is little bit so slow. Please wait. This is our DB, and I want to search where is my student table. So here is my student table. So I want to clear all this. This is my student table, and this is student ID, grade, and name. Select star from student. Okay, let's. There is something. See, this is our table. Our student ID. ID is automatically generated here 302 while we 302 in our controller class. In our post. ID is automatically generated in our student table. We use ID. Upon ID, generated value is called generation type auto. So ID is automatically generated by this annotation, and I will show in content. And let's add another name like sort to shape grade 10. Let's add okay. And I want to show in DB. Let's rerun this query. See 30310 Taushik Sweet. This is my complete front end and back end with database application. And when we delete this, one- when we click on delete, how the functionality will work, I will show. When we click on delete button, here is our handle delete function in React.js. It automatically accesses this endpoint localhost student with ID. Student.index.student with ID, it will delete. It accesses this endpoint. In backend, it comes here. Where is that in my controller? In backend, it comes here, delete mapping. This is our delete mapping functionality, delete mapping. And Via path variable, the ID will comes into this method path pair variable, and we we find by ID. We find that student by using find by ID. This is optional class. If the student is not present by that ID, so it returns else. It returns the response entity no content. If the student is find by ID, then if the student is present, then the student are reported by using delete by ID. It's deleted and gives HTTP request and gives returns the HTTP status accepted. If the student is not found, it returns the this new HTTP status code as no content. So we will try by using this and delete this and refresh and go to the database. We can run this query again. So Vamshi is deleted and there is only one student. Tauship Sheikh 810. Student ID is 302. And we have to edit this. Let's edit. While we press edit, we edit the name as only Tauship and create just 8 and update. This is update and see in our database. Let's rerun this query. Here is that also updated 1000 and only grade is 8. In this backend, while we edit, here we put annotation if the by using that ID. It's first it gets that ID if the student is present. It's student the it changes name and grade and returned to the student. This is our backend functionality. First, we use put method to edit the student. First, we get the student by using student ID in path variable and request body also to edit the student name and grade. So student first we have to find the student. So find by ID and then we get the student and if the student is present, okay, then we get student now. Student dot get student name. Student name by dot get name and when and we change the values here by get name and get grade and then we save that student dot report as student dot get, so it can save easily. In front end the logic for handle and update we will only write one logic. This is our logic. Yes, if we get edit index is okay, then we student dot get id and student name. We put student name and grade by front end and uh, we click update, then it's go to updated. That's it. This is my small front end project is which is built in our while I am doing Java full stack course. This is my project. They taught me how to do this. This is a simple small project. That's it. That's it for today. Thank you. Thank you for everyone. I know my communication is little bad, so just be please consider me. So thank you.